Candace Owens, traditional wife or feminist in practice. She is one of the most recognized and controversial and conservative voices in America, and her podcast just made it to #1 worldwide. Congratulations, Candace. Candace Owens, she is a political commentator, an author, a mother, and one of modern feminists' fiercest critics. She champions traditional values, faith, and family, but also commands stages, leads media ventures, and shapes global discourse. So here's the question. Is Candace Owens truly a traditional wife or a feminist in practice who simply rejects the label? Let's take a closer look. Zoom in with me. Before we can define Candace Owens, we need to define the two competing archetypes. Traditional wife or Tradwife values the sanctity of family, the beauty of motherhood, and the divine order between men and women. To her, submission isn't meekness or weakness, it's structure. Fulfillment comes not from corporate success, but from faith, family, and homemaking. Examples of women are like Elena Kate Petit and Hannah Neilman, influencers who proudly celebrate motherhood and traditional domestication. On the other hand, stands the feminist, the advocate for women's autonomy, equality, and choice. Feminism is not about sameness, it's about freedom. Freedom to choose whether that's leading in a boardroom or nurturing in a nursery. Figures like Gloria Steinem, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie define that philosophy: equality, empowerment, and independence. Now that we've heard this, what is it that Candace Owens claims to be? Candace Owens makes her stance unmistakably clear. No one confuses what she believes in. She rejects modern feminism, calling it a movement that has poisoned women into hating men, womanhood, and themselves. She argues that feminism, once about equal rights, has evolved into a cultural rebellion against nature and order. In her words, it has convinced women that career achievement matters more than the family and left them miserable in the process. Her critiques can be summarized in 3 main arguments. The first ones are that feminism breeds unhappiness. Owens frequently claims that feminism sold women a lie that chasing careers and casual relationships make them free. Instead, she argues it made them lonely, overworked, and disconnected from their feminine purpose. Feminism benefits men. A provocative claim she repeats often: feminism liberated men, not women. By dismissing marriage and family, Owens says that society freed men from accountability, commitment, and fatherhood, while leaving women to bear the social cost. The third is the myth of patriarchy. Owens rejects the notion that Western society oppresses women. She actually claims that we live in a matriarchy. But in her view, women today enjoy unparalleled opportunity, and that claims of systemic patriarchy or patriarchy are simply tools of political manipulation. For Candace Owens, feminism isn't a path to empowerment. It's a symptom of cultural decay. In her world, the antidote is a return to traditional gender roles, where men are protectors and providers and women are nurturers and mothers. And yet, that's where the contradictions begin. The practice, a feminist life in traditional clothing. Candace Owens champions the image of traditional wife, but in practice, she's anything but traditional in the historical sense. She is a media executive, public speaker, author, political influencer. Her work reaches millions globally, making her one of the most visible and financially independent conservative women in the world. She's not a homemaker in the private sphere. She's a power player in the public one. And that's the paradox. Candace Owens calls for women to return to the home, yet she herself thrives in the spotlight, traveling, leading, and debating. She encourages women to prioritize family over career, make him a sandwich. But her own success comes from her professional ambition, and that is an ambition she has had for a long time before marriage, and even after marriage, it has even grown bigger. Does this make her hypocritical or complex? Because Candace doesn't reject women's capability to succeed. She rejects the ideology that says they should do so at the expense of family. In her framework, her career is justified in her mission, defending the traditional family structure. In her own words, she is fighting for the world my children can inherit or will inherit. So perhaps she's not a practicing traditional wife, but a professional traditionalist. There's a difference. A woman using the tools feminism gave her, like education, speech, influence, to dismantle every movement that enabled her platform. And that is where the complexities even get bigger. Candace Owens lives at the crossroad of ideology. And that is where the contradiction and convergence begins. Candace Owens lives at the crossroad of ideology and reality. She preaches submission, yet commands authority. She defends domestication, yet thrives in the public square. She calls for women to prioritize motherhood, yet continues to build a multi-million-dollar media empire. This tension makes her both polarizing and fascinating. In one sense, she embodies the feminist outcome, freedom, autonomy, and visibility. In another, she argues fiercely against the feminist narrative, rejecting its worldview and moral framework. So, which is she? By her own words, a traditional wife. By her actions, a feminist in tradition. Candace Owens is proof that modern womanhood is not binary. Even those who denounce feminism cannot fully escape its legacy, the freedom to choose their path. And in that freedom lies the irony. The most feminist thing a woman can do may be to fiercely reject feminism. Candace Owens has become the embodiment of a modern paradox. She rejects feminism while exercising its power. She calls for traditional wives while redefining it through her own success. She is a woman of conviction, confidence, articulate, and divisive, a hybrid of two worlds that were never meant to coexist. So, is she a traditional wife or a feminist critic? The answer depends on which definition you value more, behavior or belief. That is a problem. Candace Owens is not the end of feminism. She is its contradiction, its evolution, and its unintentional proof of influence. Because in choosing freely to speak, to lead, to define her own path or place in the world, Candace Owens does the very thing feminism fought for women to do. By words, Candace Owens is a traditional wife, ideologue. By lifestyle, Candace Owens is a feminist in practice. She is a modern hybrid, a self-proclaimed traditionalist, navigating a world of feminist possibility. She often frames her career as a necessary fight for the traditional values she believes are essential for society, essentially turning her professional life into a political means to a traditional end. You see where the conjunction is? In truth, Candace Owens is not the rejection of feminism. She is the evolution's contradiction. Proof that even those who resist the movement cannot fully escape its influence. Maybe, just maybe, and I say this with a smile on my face, the most feminist thing a woman can do today is to choose freely, even if she chooses to reject feminism. And in that sense, Candace Owens may be more feminist than she would like to admit. And that is still her choice. That is what feminism fought for. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Until next time. Bye.
Feminism, which is just equality for women, then you wouldn't be on the stage today and I wouldn't be here asking you this question. So if people aren't complaining, as you say, and fighting for rights, then nothing would happen. So how can you reconcile these differences?
When I was your age, I thought the same thing, that feminism is just about equality. One of the brilliant things that the left does is they repackage words. It's clearly not feminism anymore. It's designed to actually rip apart women and men, to make women paranoid about men all the time, and every industry is controlled by a man, and to make being on your own, I want to do all by myself, aspirational. What are we even fighting anymore? Men holding doors? That's the new feminist cause? Like, no, equality means don't hold the door. No, I like having the door held for me. In a perfect world, our society was so much better when women were involved every single day with their children before we handed them over to the Department of Education. And so I do not see feminism as having accomplished anything in our society. I actually think it was a nightmare that is being repackaged in our textbooks.
I think that why is it that so many people see the word feminist as a negative thing?
Because I think that feminism has long been associated with the most extreme versions of it. So people think a feminist is sort of a crazy woman who hates men and doesn't shave, and right? And so all of these sort of really crazy negative stereotypes I think have been attached to feminism, and so people don't want to associate with it. Right? There are people who've said to me, why do you call yourself feminist? Why don't you just say you're a humanist or an equalist? But that is what feminism is. Right. Feminism is about justice for everyone, but you have to name a problem. And the problem is it's women who've been excluded. So we need to call it what it is.